Kahani Bar brings you a cocktail of stories in English and in Hindustani. I am Richa, and today's story is from Fauji Heart, a collection of human stories with the backdrop of Indian Army. Written for you by Neerja K, these stories will sometimes bring a smile and sometimes a tear, but they will always allow you to peek into the lives of the human beings who are often hidden behind that stiff uniform. Our story for the day is Balle Balle.
बल्ले बल्ले। ओ तेरी, हमारी पोस्ट पर चीनी बैठे हैं यार, yelled Sepoy Shamsher Singh. His buddy Sepoy Karan Singh, who was busy sipping early morning tea from his enamel mug, chuckled. Shamshera, did they serve you rum instead of the morning tea today? Oye no, oye Karan Singha, come here and see for yourself, Yara, he yelled. Their unit had recently moved from the sandy, sizzling deserts of Rajasthan to one of the highest posts along the Indo-China border in Arunachal Pradesh. It was literally like moving from an oven into a freezer. Shamsher Singh had joined the unit at Suratgarh as a new recruit 2 years ago. Prior to that, he had never even set foot outside his village in Punjab. He had no idea about the vast and diverse country that he had been born in. Suratgarh was so hot in peak summers that you could fry an egg on the bonnet of a jonga and make a cup of tea with the boiling water from a water trailer. Well, that was one way of using solar energy. The weirdness of the desert had left him bewildered. Unlike his native land, there were no permanent landmarks here. It took just one sandstorm to change the entire landscape. In a matter of minutes, the sand dune on the left of his tent would blow over and shift to the right, playing havoc with his sense of direction. It was no wonder then that he had flunked his map reading test twice in a row. Often, the winds would blow with such ferocity that he was sure he would be blown away, or worse, be buried under the shifting sands. Whenever the wind picked up, he would head for cover under a 3-ton Shaktiman. He always sought the mighty Shaktimans for refuge, as he had heard talks of lighter vehicles like jeeps and jongas getting tossed around in some of the most fierce sandstorms. The heavy 3-ton was a sure shot defense. When he had been informed that the unit was moving to a place where it snowed, he had been ecstatic to be finally getting out of this furnace. Any other place would be heaven compared to this tandoor that they had been left to roast in like buttered murgas. In his wildest dreams, he could not have anticipated where he was headed. His only encounter with snow had been on the silver screen through Hindi movies that he had watched in open-air screenings in the unit. He had pleasant memories of Sharmila Tagore in a skimpy choli and a calf-length ghagra, frolicking in the snow. She appeared cheerful and romantic enough to sing and dance barefoot on the beautiful snow-clad mountainsides. As the unit began preparing for the move, he would often daydream while he worked. Perhaps he too might be fortunate enough to have a romantic encounter with a Pahari chori. His daydreams grew more vivid with each passing day, but that was only until they finally reached their destination. All the romantic notions he had nurtured about the snow and the mountain damsel vanished as he trudged through waist-high snow from Tawang to his current post for the first time. There was no path. You were just wading through a sea of snow. Every step was a huge exertion. The route was so treacherous that one wrong step meant a free fall down the mountainside. If Sharmila Tagore had tried her dance here, she would have undoubtedly rolled down the mountainside like a snowball. Shamsher Singh was not one to learn his lessons fast. So on the first morning in this snowy wonderland, he ventured out of his snow tent for a wash, clad only in his striped chaddi and a banyan. If Sharmila Tagore, a woman, could do it, so could he. He was a man after all, and that too a Sardar Munda. He had tied his hair in a knot on top of his crown, but his open beard was flying across his chest. The cold wind pierced his body, but he braved it and went to the nearby barrel that stored hot water for their use. He drew a mug of water and quickly splashed it on his face. That was all he could manage. He quickly ran back to his tent where he had forgotten his towel. But the moment he tried to wipe his face, he yelled out in pain amidst peals of laughter from his tent mates. The droplets of water on his beard had frozen and turned into little icicles. Oi Chalya, what do you think you are doing? Pour some hot water on your beard and wipe it immediately and vigorously with this towel, advised Karan Singh. And for Rabda Vasta, get some clothes on. There is no one here that you can impress with your 3.5 packs, unless, of course, you want to go back to your village in a body bag. Don't you know that in these areas, if you let the snot drip from your nostrils, that too will turn into ice in a matter of seconds. Then you can break it and use it in your rum. The tent had thundered with more and more raucous laughter at each successive quip of the witty Karan Singh. Shamsher Singh had come a long way since then. Now, as he called out again to Karan Singh with urgency in his voice, the latter put down his cup of tea, got up and came over. Shamsher held out his binoculars and Karan scanned the nearest post. He yelled with shock, "Oh yaar, you are right for a change. There really are Chinese soldiers in our post. We must report this immediately. You keep vigil and I will report this matter to Subedar Saab and he will inform Company Commander Saab." Karan Singh started to take long and hurried strides through the snow to the other end of their post. Rinchin, the youngest soldier of his company, was on duty at his post. It was particularly nasty morning as the snow fell in stormy swirls, creating low visibility conditions. He was, however, fully clad to combat the weather. The trick was to bundle up in many layers. He had on at least 4 layers underneath his heavy tweed-lined coat parka. Beneath its fur-lined hood, he was even wearing a monkey cap. He had on thick waterproof gloves and army-issue snow boots. And that left only his typical Mongolide eyes uncovered. He would have given a limb for a good smoke right about now. He looked around and saw his friends Bobby Chin, Lamniamang, Nishil and other fellow soldiers going about their business. They too were dressed to fight the weather. He was used to this kind of weather, but he missed his home and the warmth of his mother's kitchen. If he closed his eyes, he could transport himself back there. He could even breathe in the aroma of the pork chunks strung together, hanging over the hearth, getting smoked. He could tell the particular vegetables that were boiling away in the wok just from their smell. He could see his mother adding in the homemade noodles. Oh, that smelled delicious. Rinchin breathed in the tasty smells one last time, opened his eyes and returned to reality. He was hundreds of miles away from home. There were ranges upon ranges of rugged mountains between him and his home. He sighed once again and looked up. All he got was snow on his face from the walls of heaven above. He wondered how much snow was up there. Snow began to gather on him faster than he could shake it off. He, like many others, looked like he was wearing a white space suit instead of an army uniform. He gave himself a big shake like wet dogs do and got rid of quite a bit of snow from his clothes. He dug out his binoculars from underneath a thin layer of snow, parked himself on a camp stool and started to clean the lenses with his gloved fingers. He did this at a leisurely pace. He had just begun his shift and would be standing here for so many hours to come. He had a lot of time to kill. Satisfied with the cleaning of the lenses and the eyepieces, he finally raised his binoculars. He adjusted them to his eyes without disturbing the monkey cap that covered his face. He started panning the binoculars from right to left, not expecting to find anything out of the ordinary. They all knew that the enemy would make little movement at this time of the year. He swept the white landscape with a practiced, methodical and gradual movement of the binoculars. He continued the right to left observations and on the third sweep, he froze. The shock passed quickly, and in an instant, he jumped to his feet. He blinked several times before peering through his binoculars again. He could not believe his eyes. He had no doubt now. There it was, clear as can be. In the distance, there were 4 Sardarjis with their guns trained at his post. He yelled out to his mates and told them what he had seen. They ran, half tumbling, half sliding through the snow to report the situation to their officer. Sepoy Shamsher Singh was still fidgeting with his binoculars, while his mates were busy taking their positions with their guns aimed straight at their target, waiting for further orders from their company commander. Shamsher Singh was sure his name would be recommended for an award for his superior observation and timely reporting despite inclement weather. Yes, that's what the citation would read on his award. He was sure. As was his habit, he had already let loose the horses of his imagination. He could picture himself walking with pride down the village lanes, strutting about with a shiny medal on his chest. His proud mother and the villagers were all cheering him on, while the children followed him through the lanes. While Shamsher Singh was daydreaming, the company commander was trying to get this vital information. Some Chinese soldiers spotted on our post, Tango Alpha 749, out to his seniors through the wireless. The company commander, Captain Gobind Singh, was himself a youngster who had just been promoted to captain. As soon as Sepoy Karan Singh had burst into his tent with the alarming news, he had set upon the wireless so as to quickly pass on the report and look to his seniors for further orders. But the wireless set was proving to be less than cooperative. It was a master of its own moves. The machine stubbornly disobeyed most orders, and with each failed attempt, Captain Gobind Singh's anxiety kept ratcheting up. He did not want to take this national level decision by himself. Even at this forward post, he was not empowered to give orders to fire at the enemy without first getting clearance from above. He was authorized only to return fire in the event that they were fired upon. As he struggled desperately with the wireless set, he gave orders to stand by and keep a close watch on any movement of the enemy. Shamsher Singh yelled again, "Oi Karan Singha, look at this ajuba yara! Oi, the Chinese have surrendered without us having to fire a single shot. Balle, oi balle!" "What nonsense," grumbled Karan Singh and snatched away his binoculars. Before he could raise them to his eyes, Captain Gobind Singh appeared by his side and grabbed them from him. He had rushed out of his tent upon hearing the commotion. He was really frustrated with the wireless and was tense with anxiety. He raised his binoculars and focused them for clarity. He saw a soldier without a coat parka, dressed only in his olive green jersey, frantically waving a white handkerchief tied to a stick. Captain Gobind Singh spun around and barked at his team. "Oi, khotiyon! Oi! Those are not Chinese troops, you idiots! That is a company of the Assam regiment that has soldiers from our northeastern states, and they are performing the same duty as us and doing a damn sight better job than you buffoons." "I did not get through to 2IC Saab." Look closely at the jersey he's wearing. It's the same as yours." Sepoy Shamsher Singh wanted to melt away into the snow. It was not his fault. All he had seen were soldiers bundled up in white with just their eyes exposed, and all of them had Mongol-eyed eyes. Wasn't that how the Chinese looked? How was he to know? Captain Gobind Singh ordered everyone to stand down. He went back to his tent and kissed the wireless set. For once, he was thankful for the malfunction of this vital communication device. Balle Balle.
This is Richa signing off. Take good care of yourselves till I'm back with the next story.